So I love sci-fi movies and I also love terrible movies, so I thought why not combine the two and watch terrible sci-fi movies. Today I'm watching the 1984 film Dune. I don't think it'll be a traditional terrible movie. I've heard there is a book that this is based on, so I know that. I know David Lynch directed this. I love David Lynch, but I've heard he's not a huge fan of this movie, or I believe that was his response. I believe it also got mixed reviews, and maybe that's why it's more classified as a bad movie. Maybe not so much the production value, but maybe in how it was received compared to the source material. I haven't read the book. I don't know anything about the plot. I do know that Kyle MacLachlan is in this, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and I know he's in Twin Peaks. I haven't seen Twin Peaks either, and I know it's kind of famous for the wrong reasons. Like I said, maybe just sci-fi fans were very upset with how the book was translated into film. I guess we'll find out, but I'm very excited to finally watch this movie. It's been on the watch list for a very long time, and I know there's a new version coming out soon as well, so I wanted to watch this before the new version comes out. But thank you so much for sharing in this first time watching with me. If you have any other suggestions for sci-fi movies you think I should watch, please comment below. And if you're ever curious about what gear I use or what's on the bookshelf, I've included a link in the description. And if you want to have a say in what movies or TV shows I watch, be sure to join Patreon. And as always, please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel, and check back often for more awesome content.
And the most precious substance in the universe is the spice melange.
Okay.
The spice extends life.
Oh.
The spice expands consciousness.
Okay. So it's like a drug?
Use the orange spice gas, which gives them the ability to fold space.
What?
That is, travel to any part of the universe without moving.
What? That's awesome.
The spice exists on only one planet in the entire universe.
Of course.
Also known as Dune.
Hey, that's the name of the movie. Okay, I'm into it so far. Definitely seems weird, but I like the visuals were cool with her head kind of floating in and out of space. Definitely set up, I'm assuming, the entire plot of the movie, where this guy will become the Messiah and fulfill this prophecy on this desolate planet. Okay, very interesting. Comment below, is this true to the book? Like I said, is that maybe why this wasn't received very well? Music composed by Toto? Okay. Yeah, comment below and let me know how true to the book it is. But yeah, it sounds fun so far. A spice, I haven't heard of a sci-fi movie where the spice is what they're after. But yeah, I'm very curious to see where this is gonna go.
The spice must flow.
The spice must flow. Okay, this planet looked like Earth with like a ring of Saturn around it almost. Okay. I feel like it's gonna be a lot. Like, I feel like this book was very detailed and they tried to shove it into a movie, so I'm very curious to see how much depth they go into. These guys look like they're wearing wet garbage bags. Oh, there's puppies! Look at the little puppies!
He's here, my lord.
The sets look really cool so far, like this black and gold contrast, and like very detailed. I love it. I love like set design, production design, so especially in sci-fi movies, I think they're so cool. They get to take like a lot of liberties. This is like a Trojan horse situation. What are we doing here? What? What are we doing here? Oh! What part of his body is that? Yeah.
Don't say this. I am not here.
What are you? Is that like an alien? Is it like a giant brain? He said he had like folded time, what they mentioned at the beginning. So he's some kind of advanced creature. To be honest, I'm already a little confused. He's trying to get rid of somebody that this guy's also trying to get rid of.
Atreides on Caladan.
Record number of bald caps used by women goes to House of Atreides. Okay. I will try my best not to mispronounce any of these terms.
Has been manipulating bloodlines to produce the Kwisatz Haderach, a super being.
What the frick's a Kwisatz Haderach?
The concubine of Duke Leto Atreides had been ordered to bear only daughters.
Well, that's inconvenient.
Safety when a worm attacks. Worms attack all rhythmic vibrations.
Like in Tremors?
Weather. Sea storms. No precipitation.
Sand. Sea dry.
Atreides unsteeled the ducal signet ring for himself.
And this is the guy they were talking about killing in the previous scene? Those eyebrows. Can we just slow clap round of applause for those bad boys? Oh my god, they're like tiny civilizations.
Know the difference?
Yes. Perhaps you would have that.
And they all have like telepathic abilities somehow?
Music, then?
No music. I'm packing this for the crossing.
Patrick Stewart?
I'm not in the mood.
Not in the mood. Mood's a thing for cattle and love play, not for...
Hello. That's Patrick Stewart, right? Whoa, what? What? I'm sorry, what are we doing here? We're mirror fighting? Oh, those graphics are very 1984. What is happening?
Guard yourself for truth.
They have like shields around themselves?
They live in the deep desert, some of them in the cities. They have blue within blue eyes.
Oh my.
The first step in avoiding a trap is knowing of its existence.
I know.
The first rule of Dune is knowing about Dune. It's got like a shock collar and this fighting robot. It sounds like he's making those sounds. It's like Jedi fighting training, but he's got to fight this robot with many swords. Yeah, like I think these sets are so cool and just so elaborate and probably very expensive to create, but they just look amazing.
The sleeper must awaken.
Okay. That's an interesting way to put it. He's like, yeah, we need change to, you know, stay awake basically, to have these new experiences, so interesting. I feel like there'd be some good quotes from this book.
I will kill you.
That looks like the guy from Drop Dead Fred. Streaming of water on a desert planet, okay.
You see?
Yeah, and the spice makes their eyes bluer. Or people who've used the mutated version of the spice have really, really blue eyes.
I want to see you in your mother's chambers in 1/4 of an hour.
This is Jessica person is his mom?
Surprising.
What voice is that? What voice is this? What? She has like a voice that makes you lose control and you have to do whatever she says, basically?
To control your instincts. Your instinct will be to remove your hand from the box.
What kind of game is this? Why are they playing put your hand in the box?
I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings to
Oh, God!
pass over me and through me. I must not
Feel flesh.
feel crispy.
It's to like teach him that fear's not real and he can control like mind over matter situation.
I must not fear. Fear is the little death.
This is messed up, man. His hand's like on fire.
Tell me of your homeworld, Lisa.
She looks like Glenn Close. I'm sure it's not, but that's what it looks like.
I heard you talking. You speak as if he were dead. Well, he's not. Well, he's not. And he won't die.
I thought they were planning to kill him, but now they're planning to kill his dad instead. Gideon Prime. That's a great name. Someone start a band and call it that if there's not one already, because that's a great name.
Acquires speed, ellipse acquires stains. Stains become a warning. It is by will alone I set my mind in motion.
Okay, so giant eyebrows are just a theme throughout this movie. Is it like...
I set my mind in motion. It is by the juice of Sabu the thoughts acquire speed.
The juice of Sabu.
Stains become a warning. It is by will alone I set my mind in motion.
Okay, this is mantra, okay. Yeah, is that like having blue eyes and crazy eyebrows? Is that part of using the mutated spice? I do like the idea of having prop eyebrows, though. That's fun. What the f is this?
My peace gesture. The forms of Kangli have been obeyed.
What the f is this thing? So many questions. Oh, okay, that's one way to announce something. What the frick? Who invited Billy Idol to this party? There's a lot happening. Those people had like staples in their eyes or something. And this guy's got just open sores on his face, and they keep injecting his face with stuff. Oh God! What is he injecting into his face?
Real neat.
Is he injecting like that spice into his face? I felt that one. That's the most effed up juice box I've ever seen. What the frick was in there? Oh yeah, no need to recycle. Let's just throw this into the black goo. Oh God, what? His suit inflates and he floats up like Willy Wonka? This character is the most messed up thing in this movie so far. Is that actually Billy Idol? I was just making a joke, but it kind of looks like him. So many questions about what is happening here. He's got like discs hanging from his chest. Oh, good. Now he's just spewing goo. Yep. Yep. And this guy's bringing purple flowers and has like a reverse mohawk. Oh God! What is it, like a hand grenade for a human? Like if you pull the plug they're dead? Like what's going on? I'm very uncomfortable with most of this. Oh God, his ears look so fake, but they're stapled on. Why did he kill that guy?
This is what I'll do to the Duke and his family.
So there's this like version of humans out there that just have a giant hole in their chest, and if you pull the plug, they're done. What the frick is this? And pugs? Pugs are present everywhere. The only kind of dog breed I've seen in this movie has been a pug. Oh my, spicy bedroom scene.
Vice gas, traveling without moving.
Yeah, that's such a crazy concept. I know they mentioned something similar in Event Horizon when it takes a piece of paper and folds it and puts a pencil through. I love sci-fi for like this kind of aspect of it, where they're like, what could you do to time and space and how you could alter it. I think that's super fascinating. So yeah, this concept of folding time. And I know this came out before Event Horizon. What the frick are these things though? But I'm excited to see it mentioned again in another movie. I feel like the book explained a lot of this, and I just... I'm not gonna lie, I don't know what this thing is, or what it's doing. Okay, so yeah, this prophecy, this Messiah, and I'm assuming, like I said, I think that will be this Paul character. Will bring them out of darkness, so maybe this desolate planet will be full of life again.
Arrakis.
It feels, like I said, very complex. Like they keep mentioning all these things, and I'm trying to remember them all and piece them together. I've also been watching a lot of Portlandia recently, and this actor is the mayor of Portlandia.
Your suit is fitted desert fashion. Who told you how to do that?
No one.
Oh yeah, so that tube thing is supposed to help them get spice into their body, or is that how they get food and like nutrients and stuff?
Cleared protective shield wall and entered open desert.
Does anybody know where this was filmed? Comment below and let me know. Or was it all like digitally done?
But sire, we can't leave all this spice.
Damn the spice! Get out of there!
Damn the spice, he says. Wow. And that actually looked like David Lynch, but I don't think he makes cameos. Okay, so yeah, so a worm's coming. They're like trying to get them out of there. Oh God, hello. And at least it sounds like they have a warning before the worm attacks. Is that its mouth? Whoa! Cheese and rice. Its whole mouth just like scooped it up.
The case against all better judgment. I like this Duke.
Yeah, I feel like it's like Spice is number one, so he was in charge, this Duke was in charge, so he made the call to get the men out of there, whereas I feel like typically it would be like, well, usually they said they wait till the last minute, which obviously would be nerve-wracking if you only have a minute to get out of there before this thing attacks.
I didn't know you had so much reason to hate them.
They seem, if the Harkonnen was that guy with the stuff on his face, yeah, he's a monster.
They must have killed her.
Please excuse me if I can't talk about it.
Really feeling the emotion coming off of him.
Yet, there's the imperial conditioning.
I was wondering what that, yeah, I was wondering what that symbol on his forehead stood for.
Jesuit mother, I must warn you, you are in great danger.
Yeah, I'm curious if the other characters can hear those thoughts or if it's just for the audience.
Spice.
Oh. His first hit of spice. It's a great question. Yeah, does it like get you high? Like, is it a drug? Wow! Oh God, nightmare.
Can't get it. I don't know. It's too dark in here for me to see clearly.
This thing just came into his room. It looks like it's poison or something. That was a cool shot to see like inside the needle. Oh. Whoa, it like lines up with his eye. Oh my God. Good thing he did that fear test earlier. Cheese and rice. This needle pointing right at his eye. No, thank you. Ah, no! Whoa, we caught the golden snitch. Ugh. Okay. So the blue-eyed people are Fremens. And that pus-face guy is the Harkonnies. Again, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing these terribly wrong. Those are giant, obnoxious flashlights. Oh God. What's with the reverse mohawk? When was that ever a cool look? I feel like this is a movie where you have to read the book first for it to make sense. Oh God, no, they got Papa. They got the Duke. Oh God. Yeah, this guy was the traitor.
We sabotaged the house generators. We are wide open.
Oh shoot, he like took down their shield?
Because in return, I'll save the lives of your Paul and Jessica.
Oh shoot. Okay, a poison gas tooth? What the frick? Who thinks of these things? Oh yeah, let's just do some quick dentistry. Don't mind me. Just gonna pop this bad boy out. Ugh. I don't like teeth stuff in movies. Ugh.
When you see the Baron, remember the tooth.
What if he accidentally like chews too hard or something and poison gas comes out? This is a flawed plan, man. He's gonna get close enough to the Baron and then what, just like chomp in his direction and this poisonous gas will come out. It's the dumbest weapon I've ever heard of. Excuse me, sir. Patrick Stewart is holding his little pug and a gun and charging into battle with his little pug. Someone please explain, comment below, what is the significance of pugs in this world? I'm very excited there's dogs in this movie, but pugs specifically. Does David Lynch secretly just love pugs? I don't know.
How simple to subdue us.
Yeah, and like all these planets have really elaborate names, and the characters' names are like Paul and Jessica.
Found.
Is he trying to steal third base? What is he doing over here? Oh God, he punched him right in the face.
Down there.
I don't really know what's going on, to be honest. These guys are attacking these guys. And they've got these great 1984 shields. We can make graphics, but only in very blocky square shapes. Whoa! What's the point of a shield if a bullet can still go through it? Oh, God! So they're taking them out to the desert so that the worms can eat them. And there'll be no evidence.
There's no need to fight over me.
Oh, dear. Yeah, this voice makes people do whatever you say, basically. So he told them to remove the gag. Yeah, and now he stabbed the other guy. She's like, there's no need to fight over me.
He's coming around, Baron.
Okay, this guy's the Baron. Okay. He's the one he's supposed to kill with the poisonous gas tooth. Okay, okay.
Come closer, Baron.
Oh! Oh! He did it to the wrong guy. He gassed the wrong guy.
Jessica.
Wouldn't he also die now? If he just ingested that poisonous gas? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so they must have some telepathic abilities or something that she can sense that he's died.
You're alive, my Baron.
I'm alive,
Why can the Baron fly? Oh, he has the ring. That's what they were talking about? Okay. It looks like the bottom, it looks like there's like a little face with the two eyes in the mouth. He's like...
He who controls the spice controls the universe.
Oh God, they're peeling his face off.
What deep?
Yeah, I'm curious about the significance of this ring. Like we saw his dad use it
Listen to me.
for a few scenes.
Is he the one?
You carry my unborn sister in your womb.
Oh, oh God, sprung a leak.
Go now.
Okay, so yeah, Paul is fighting against the Emperor and obviously now the Baron because the Baron killed his dad.
Go.
And the Baron is also just the worst.
We have entered the time when all will turn against us and seek our lives.
Oh, good, good. That sounds promising. Yeah, it's weird that there's like these electrical storms, but there's no rain.
I'll plant this thumper. That should divert it.
What's a thumper? Oh, they said the worms are attracted to like any sensory or any movement, so if there's something that's creating...
And we won't attract the worm.
Right.
We'll go to the thumper.
Right, okay.
Ready.
Thumper is a worm trap, apparently. Oh God, these things are huge! Oh God. Comment below, how were those things created? Like what special effects went into it? They look terrifying. Oh, and also very suggestive. Yeah, God, that's a lot of teeth. Looks like the inside of a cactus.
Bene Gesserit.
It is the legend.
Okay. Ah! She was in his dreams. Okay. Yeah, I'm curious as what this was rated. There hasn't been like a ton of swearing, or there was like one sex scene.
And your mother shall be a Sayadina among us. We welcome you.
He named himself after a moon shadow.
Unfolds.
Okay, and he's met this girl from his dream now, and they've got this army, and they're gonna share their different ways in which they battle together, I guess.
Tell me of your home world, Usul.
Yeah, as if this movie wasn't confusing enough. Now they've given him 2 new names. 3/4 of the way through the movie, sure, why not? This guy's still flying around his evil palace. Is that a cow? What are they doing to that poor cow? He just rip off his ear? Cheese and rice, this place is... That's my evil maniacal face. That's what that guy was doing.
Never stop. Go! Go!
This guy is gross. Oh my.
Please.
This movie's getting spicy.
Alia was born with all the knowledge and powers of a reverend mother.
Okay, so that other reverend mother died. Jessica drank this poison water, and now the baby that she's giving birth to is gonna become a reverend mother.
You must care for it if you wish to live.
Oh my gosh, this poor cat.
By milking this smooth little cat's body, you receive your antidote.
What?
It must be done each day.
He has to milk the cat every day
Is it Atreides that I want to kill?
to get an antidote.
Hey, no.
Did I hear that correctly? Am I making this up?
Thufir's a Harkonnen now. Aren't you, Thufir?
Okay, so yeah, those things are called heart plugs, and the Baron and his evil people obviously install them when they want to kill somebody. What? Oh, okay, well these 2 are smooching now. Here we go.
Some thoughts have a certain sound.
Okay.
You will be able to paralyze nerves, shatter bones, set fires.
Yeah, that's such a cool concept to think of, that thoughts have sounds. So interesting. Not that they're using it for evil, obviously, but like that concept that your thoughts could have sounds and you could weaponize them somehow. Very interesting.
Yet in order to lead them, I must conquer the worm, conquer Shia.
Feels like everything has like 3 different names, and yeah, like there's a lot of really weird vocabulary and terms. And is that like voice control thing that they do part of their their weirding ways, or is that what it is? Ah! That's how you kill it? You like rip open its gill? Oh my god, it's taking him up! Bye! That's what they gave him to conquer this giant worm, was a shovel, like a shovel and some rope. Oh, is he gonna ride it? Like he's making like a harness thing for it? Yes, he's riding the worm. I'm just gonna leave that. Yeah, no need to further comment on that phrase. They're like, there's room, plenty of room. Oh, come on up. He's like, I've never felt more powerful. Look at me, look at how cool I am riding this worm. Yeah, it kind of seems like the Force, like they can control things with their mind, but I really like this idea that like thoughts have sounds. That's so cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Baron and the Emperor himself will be forced to deal with us.
That's true. If he stops making the one thing they want the most, they will take notice. If they keep running like they are, the Emperor and the Baron are just going to keep exploiting them and doing whatever they want.
Since we found him. Who is this?
Yeah, they don't know that his other names.
Followed. Muad'Dib and Fremen brought spice production to a standstill.
Oh, okay, 2 years later.
Your life in a pain amplifier.
Well, that doesn't sound fun at all. That's cool they have like that translation thing that comes in front of them.
I must go now.
Running while holding hands is very inconvenient. I don't know why they do it in movies. Okay, so he's gonna drink this water of life because he thinks that's what they're afraid of most. And he thinks it's the only way for him to become who he's supposed to become. Yeah, and it sounds like most men die trying to drink this water of life, and it seems to be extremely rare. Yeah, but he's been able to survive things that other people haven't, and he can do things other people struggle with.
The worm is the spice. The spice
What?
is the worm.
What? The worm is the spice? And it like leaves it in the sand, so they mine it from the sand?
The sleeper has awakened!
Okay. And now his eyes are getting more blue as he's getting more exposed to the spice, obviously. And drinking the water of life.
Arrakis. Dune.
Hey, that's the name of the movie.
Long live the fighters!
Yeah, and again, like these sets, or if they were like digitally done, they're crazy, and there's been so many of them. He said a storm is coming, so maybe there'll finally be some rain on this planet. And even the name like Dune isn't the most common word for this planet. It's like the second name. Everything seems to have like 2 or 3 names. And they've got a bunch of these thumpers, so they're gonna just draw out all the worms. I'm curious if they just had really bright blue contacts, or if it's a mix of contacts, whoa, and then like it digitally altering it as well.
The likes of which even God has never seen.
Oh my. I like how Patrick Stewart has like a silver mullet now. Are they hoping to use the worms against the Emperor? Like it seems like they've kind of harnessed the power of the worm. Yeah, why does he float? Why is the Baron floating? No one else seems to have that ability. Oh, your buddy.
Paul's sister.
Yes.
Paul is not it.
Yes. They're putting it together.
On Arrakis, it's desert power.
Gurney?
Yeah, he's like, we have the home field advantage. Okay, the Emperor did come to him. I thought they were going to go to them, but the Emperor did show up. And they're dressed like beekeepers? What is this contraption? Yeah, I feel like this was a book with like very big dreams, like very elaborate things and complicated situations, and they tried to put it into a movie, and I don't know. Yeah, they were coming in riding this giant worm, attacking the Emperor. Okay. Seems to be logical at this point, yep. And they're like remote fighting from below. She's like, this is for my father. Whoa! She ripped out his nip plugs and scratched his face. Oh my god. Who's floating now, Baron? That was so weird. Oh, what a weird way to die. She's like, gotta go, bye. Oh, and then she's getting sucked out into this thing. Oh, right into the worm, of course. And bye. Just chomped him. She's like, I did it, I'm the best. Are those like bowling balls down the side of the railing? I love bowling, I'm not mad about it, it's just interesting decor choices.
Long the inevitable. I will kill you.
I don't think so, bud. Oh, don't bite him, that's rude. Oh, bonked him.
I will kill him.
Just like the power of positive thinking, he thinks, just saying it out loud. Oh, God.
The reed in the wind.
Oh! Oh, God, right under the chin. Yeah. Oh, you can see it through his mouth. Yeah.
And to change the face of Arrakis.
Right, he fulfilled the prophecy.
We Fremen, one cannot go against the word of God.
And he is God now? That was his ceremony? They put this robe on him? Oh, his eyes. Oh, okay, that was cool. They like zoomed into his eyes and showed the ocean, so I'm guessing he's bringing water to the planet finally. Yeah, there we go. Now they've got rain. He brought rain to the desert. That feels biblical. That little girl's adorable. Yeah, like all of these characters have very complex names, and then it's like Paul and Jessica and Duncan, Idaho. Virginia Madsen, that name definitely sounds familiar. I've seen her in stuff for sure. And same at the beginning, like we had that floating head. Yeah, Patrick Stewart. We had that floating head with like the star background. Oh, a Sting? Okay. My bad. Oh yes, okay. I've definitely seen him in other movies as well. So that was my first time watching the 1984 David Lynch film Dune, based off of the book. I definitely am still processing it, and I feel like it's the type of movie where you have to read the book first or the source material first. A lot of things were mentioned that, as someone who hasn't read the book and has no idea about this character or this world, weren't really explained, and it was kind of confusing in some parts. I feel like the book obviously goes into a lot more detail and explains these characters and explains like what the Thumper was and maybe why the Baron is floating and just why all the women are bald or the reverse mohawk, and just like there was so many things going on. And again, yeah, the book probably explains that. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's just all up for interpretation, or it's just creative liberties the film production took. I have no idea. Again, yeah, comment below and let me know how close this is to the book, if it's completely different, if it's just a page by page, like word for word interpretation. I thought the visuals were cool, like the graphics and the effects were definitely very 1984, but I'm not going to hold that against them, obviously. And then, yeah, the sets were so elaborate and so detailed, and there were so many of them, and just really cool, and the costumes were great. Like, I love set design, I love set production, so I thought those were really well done. The Emperor's like gold and black kingdom, or his palace, or whatever that was so cool. And yeah, I love all that stuff, and especially in sci-fi, I think they just have more creative room to play with that stuff, and there's not really expectations, where if it's, you know, real world, you go into a library, people kind of know what to expect, where this, it's like it could be anything, and it's just the opportunities are limitless. And so it was really cool to see this world and what it looked like, and the desert in like stark contrast. And we've definitely seen this theme of something very scarce or something very rare in sci-fi movies, which in this case was the spice. And also water was very rare. I don't think I've seen a sci-fi movie where spice is what they're going after. I know spice has obviously been around a very long time, so it was interesting to see that kind of element. And the way that spice affected people was interesting, how they needed spice to live, but it also seemed to like alter their state of mind. I thought that was a cool intro. You know, honestly, the beginning, I was like, we're off to a good start. They've set up the story. We've got this, you know, outline of kind of how the 3 acts of the story is going to go. We can kind of figure it out. It felt felt like their version of like scrolling text on screen. Like they just had this floating head explaining everything, and I was like, cool, great. Especially in sci-fi, I feel like sometimes you need that. But then from there, it just felt like I kind of got off course, and just maybe it's just because everything was so complicated. And yeah, it was just at some parts I was like, what are we doing? Why are we here? What's going on? And then other parts they're like, oh, and then we had this war for 2 years. It was just like casually mentioned, and I don't know if that's one page in the book or if that's 90% of the novel and they just smushed it into, you know, 10 seconds. Like that was like the last third of the movie basically was them fighting. I really like that idea they're talking about how your thoughts can have sound and how they can kind of weaponize that and use that to, like they said, make somebody's organs explode or something, and like just destroy their enemies with their thoughts. Like I thought that was really cool. And telepathy, or maybe that was just how they interpreted the characters' thoughts from the books, was they had like this whisper voiceover. So, and it seemed like some characters could hear other people's thoughts. Or again, I don't know if that was just for the audience. So we knew what they were thinking, but when the dad dies, Jessica, his concubine, is able to sense it even though they're not together, and so she is connected to him again, whether it's through telepathy, whether it's through something else they didn't explain. But yeah, so that was interesting. And yeah, an interesting choice of weapon, and this weirdlings, or if I'm pronouncing that correctly, how their voices got deeper and like they were channeling something. I'm guessing that that's part of that weirdling weapon or culture that they use, because anytime they would talk in that tone of voice, you could basically control the other person and get them to do whatever they wanted. Like that's what Jessica and Paul did to escape that when they were being taken out into the desert and left for dead, basically. And we saw that Reverend Mother use that as well. It definitely seemed something it had to be taught, and Paul was able to teach that to the Fremen, the people with the blue eyes. Again, apologies if I am mispronouncing all these different peoples and their planets. It was interesting, but also a lot. And then, like I said, I thought it was funny how even when they're going through the credits at the end, all these characters have really elaborate names, and then it gets to like Paul and Jessica, and I was like, okay, did you just put those in there so that people would have an easier time pronouncing their names? We did see Paul obviously get 2 other names, Oslo or Oslo, and then his last name they changed to the Shadow of a Moon, but interpreted of their language. So interesting. And I know that characters would have other names, like I've seen that in Lord of the Rings and stuff like that as well. But it was just a lot, I think, to comprehend for a movie. And they're talking to the Emperor and they're like, well, this guy named Moeb is doing these things, but they don't associate that with being Paul, so it ended up working out in the end. It was an important detail that, okay, well, if they just said Paul, like, oh, that's the Duke's son, we would have figured it out, we would have put it together. I think this is the furthest in the future that I've seen of a sci-fi movie. Usually sci-fi movies are like the year 3000 and blah, 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 or even the year 2000 sometimes, but this was the year 10,000, and that seemed crazy. Like, I couldn't even, yeah, it's such like an impossible number to think about how far in the future. But so that was interesting to see a movie that projected that far in the future. And again, I don't know when the book was read. I know the movie obviously came out in the 80s, but if the book was written in the 50s and the 20s, I have no idea. So when the book was written, the author must have had to imagine very far in the future. We knew that they wanted to kill Paul, they wanted to kill the Duke's son. We knew that there was this prophecy, but then they didn't really, like, to me it felt like the plot wasn't really explained until Paul is like, I'm gonna go after the Emperor and I'm gonna go after the Baron. And then it was like, okay, now you have a trajectory, you have a plan, we know what you're gonna do. Up until then, he was just kind of like, am I the chosen one? Am I not? Like, the sleeper must awaken. Like, he's just figuring himself out, kind of. And, like, obviously his dad dies, and they're coming to this planet and trying to figure out what the spice is all about. And maybe in the book that's more thoroughly explained, but to me that's kind of how it felt. Like, we didn't really have a clear direction until he's like, I'm going to do this. And we're like, okay. And Paul becomes this, like, godlike figure for this planet, and he's able to bring rain, and he stops the spice production, which I feel like is the first time that's ever happened, seeing as how spice is how they bring life. Spice is life, basically. And he stops it because he wants to get, like, that's what they spent those whole 2 years, you know, fighting and trying to stop the spice production. He wants the Emperor to come so that he can defeat him and kill the Baron. So he ends up, well, his sister successfully kills the Baron, and the Emperor is alive at the end. So there wasn't like this like satisfying shot of him, you know, killing the Emperor. His little sister kills the Baron because she's like this all-knowing creature and has these powers, and then the Emperor lives. So yeah, I was kind of like, oh, okay. And then even in the end, they're like, here, you're this godlike creature now. They just like place a robe over him. Like, we didn't need like a 40-minute ceremony, but it was just kind of like, okay, done now, here you go, here's your robe. I've heard mixed reviews about this movie, so I'm curious. I'm going to guess it didn't do well at the box office, but I don't know if there were sequels or anything like that. Comment below. I don't know if there's more books, if there's like a trilogy of books or anything like that, and they were planning on making more, but then this one unfortunately didn't do well. Again, like I said, I know there's a remake coming up very soon, so now that I've seen this, I feel like there was a lot of potential here, and maybe that's where the frustration from the audience came, where people read the books, they loved the books, and then there was a disconnect between the movie and the books. So yeah, now that obviously technology has advanced since 1984, especially in terms of filmmaking, I'm curious to see what the modern, I've seen a few like photos, and it was just them with like the tubes in their nose, which I didn't know what it meant, yeah, so I'm curious to see what this new version will be like, if it'll just add salt to the wound and make it worse, and just, you know, this is like the second chance, and I feel like if they blow this remake, no one will touch this movie or this material for a very long time. But yeah, comment below, is it a sequel, a series, anything like that? I think the grossest scene for me, or one of the grossest scenes from this movie, was pretty early on when the Baron that guy is just poking all the pus things in his face, and you're just like, what the frick is going on? And he's like, oh, you're so beautiful. And then just floating around the room, and like none of it is explained. Like, you just shoved into this room, and this guy's like, oh yes, let me poke your face pus holes. Like, what the frick is going on? And then he walks over to that guy who's placing only purple flowers on that side bench thing and rips out what we find out later is called a heart plug. And then the guy starts like spewing blood and dying, and it was just very graphic, and you're just like, what is happening here? Like, so many questions. That's basically like, okay, the Baron is a bad guy, he just killed somebody. Like, there was no way to really know who this character was, what his backstory is. Like, that was our first interaction with him, I think, and yeah, it was just so bizarre. And then he's flying around the room floating, and so many questions. I'm assuming what they were injecting him with is spice, and then even throughout the movie we heard Paul was wondering what's the connection between spice and the worm, and then we find out he says the worms are spice. Again, probably more further explained in the book. If the worms are spice, and they were always like harvesting the sand, so maybe when the worms traveled they left something in the sand that they could harvest. I have no idea, but then the worms were also attacking people trying to take the spice, so maybe they were protecting it. And of course the spice can only be found on this one planet, and this one planet is this wasteland planet, like Mad Max style, where everybody is focused on the production of this one thing, basically. Even Paul's lady friend, who he sees in his dreams, and then when he meets her in real life, he's obviously like, I remember you from my dreams. And they get together, but like a super condensed relationship. Like, I think they have like 5 scenes together, basically. So I don't know in the book if it's further explained, or if they go on to have children and those children are involved in this storyline somewhere. I have no idea. But yeah, it definitely felt like, and now you have a girlfriend. Okay, here you go. I understand why they would want to add a love interest into the story. Most stories have a love interest at some point. So I was waiting for it to happen. But like I said, like, I don't know what this would be rated. I want to say like PG, maybe PG-13 or something like that. Because there wasn't a ton, like the violence was like lasers and stuff, and other than that super gross pus scene, yeah, there wasn't a ton of sex scenes or swearing or anything else. Most of the words spoken sounded like pure nonsense, because unless you're familiar with the source material, you have no idea what the frick they're talking about. I think this movie had one of the weirdest forms of sci-fi weapons that I've seen, and that was that poison gas tooth. I don't even know where to start with that. Like, they literally pulled his tooth out, shoved a new tooth in there like that, it would just work like that, and it was filled with poison gas. And he's like, well, when you get to the Baron, get the Baron to get really close to you and then, you know, bite down and this poison gas will come out of your mouth. And unfortunately, it's not the Baron that dies during this process, it's someone else. But yeah, like, just seems like such a dangerous and weird way to kill somebody. Like, poison gas, we've seen that in movies and stuff before, obviously, but not in tooth form. You know, like, hey, I want to get super close to my enemy, which is usually the opposite. Usually you want to stay as far away from them as possible, but you want, and like your face, like it's not like it was in his toe or something. Like, you have to get that close to his face and then not only kill that person, but also be killing yourself at the same time, because when this poison gas is released, you're ingesting it as well. Like, just such a weird, I feel like there would have been so many easier ways to do that, you know, and it didn't even work. Just ended up killing the Duke, and then Paul goes on this path of avenging his father, and we find out at the same time that Jessica is in fact pregnant. It was nice to see an earlier film of Kyle MacLachlan, and I know this is kind of, this in Twin Peaks I think is what he's most known for. He seemed pretty young in this movie, so I don't know how old he was when he came out, but it was interesting to see an earlier film of his, and I wasn't expecting Patrick Stewart to be in this, so that was exciting. And Sting, I made a joke about a different performer earlier, but it ended up being Sting, which I haven't seen him in a ton of movies, so I always take notes when I'm watching a movie, and that helps with my review at the end. But I was just looking at my notes for this, and it's just so bizarre. Like, if somebody saw these notes, it would just be the most banana sandwich nonsense. Like, one of them just says eyebrows, because everybody had crazy eyebrows, and reverse mohawks, and bald caps. Like, is bald women now a sense of like regal authority? Like, was it only women in a position of power who had their head shaved and then had these really elaborate like dress headpieces? But yeah, just the most bizarre. And then it was like, oh, that scene where we have to milk the cat to get the antidote, like, please tell me I misheard that. That was so freaking bizarre. And I don't want to know who thought of that. Why would you want to milk a cat? And pugs? Why are pugs exclusively featured in this movie? Like, what? There has to be other breeds of dogs in the future. Is it just pugs and only pugs all the time? Still don't know what that weird alien in a box thing was at the beginning scene when they like wheel him in to talk to the Emperor. And yeah, it's just so bizarre. And just, why is he in the box? What is it? Like, maybe they did explain it and I just missed it. I feel like there was a lot in this movie, so it's very possible. And yeah, just so weird. And they just kept zooming in on his mouth, and just a lot of questions for that, and just for the entire movie basically. I did like the concept they explained of folding time. Like I said, I saw that in Event Horizon as well, when he's got the piece of paper. Super interesting, super cool, and that seemed to be something only people who had the mutated version of the spice, that's what they could do. They could fold time. So yeah, that was super interesting, like I said, and I think, like, I'm glad they had people with blue eyes and there was like a distinguishing feature, so you could say, okay, these are people who've had, you know, a spice and have been exposed to it for a long time. Their eyes get really blue. So that was an interesting way, I think, to show that. Again, I don't know if it was contacts or added in later, but I'm glad they at least showed that, because again, there was a lot of characters in this film, so it was a nice way to differentiate visually and be like, okay, that's this group of people. I'm not sure if they ever explained the significance of the ring or why he had to have it, what it did, but basically anytime Paul or his dad showed the ring to somebody, they were like very impressed. So we saw him use it as like a stamp almost, like it left an imprint in that one scene. But yeah, I'm not sure how that's related to this story or where that falls in, but again, there was a lot of pieces, but it seemed to be important. Overall, I enjoyed it. I thought the visuals were good. It was an interesting pieces of it were interesting. I'm definitely going to need to do some research now that I finished watching it and hopefully get some answers to questions, or comment below and give a condensed version of what was supposed to be going on. If I feel like this is definitely a movie you need to read the book or do extensive research about before you watch it, and maybe that was what he expected. They just expected that everybody would know what was going on and the movie would make complete sense. I'm very curious to see the remake, but yeah, I enjoyed it. Like I said, like I think the production value was really high, like all the sets looked really cool and the costumes, like it was well made. I just don't know that the story was there to carry it. I wouldn't classify it as a bad movie in terms of production. Like it definitely seemed like an expensively made film, especially given the time and other 80s sci-fi movies I've seen. But yeah, I think maybe the term bad would fall into maybe how it was perceived. Like maybe it didn't do well at the box office. It definitely had some interesting scenes for sure, some memorable scenes. Glad I finally seen it, and I'm curious to see the remake and to definitely learn more about this and piece it together. But thank you so much for sharing in this first time watching with me. If you have any other suggestions for sci-fi movies you think I should watch, please comment below. And as always, please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel, and check back often for more awesome content. Record number of bald caps used by women goes to... What the frick's a Kwisatz Haderach? Weird magic box thing that sets your hand on fire. Oh, it's got like a shock collar and this fighting robot. His first hit of spice, the juice of Sabu. What is it, like a hand grenade for a human? Like if you pull the plug, they're dead? Whole mouth just like scooped it up. He has to milk the cat every day.